Welcome back to Watch the Bookerman and to episode number 109 of Paul Heyman's TNA. You can see that it is week 4 of October, and what that means is that it is the go-home week to the biggest show in the TNA calendar. Not only that, we have a 2-event weekend coming up, as ROH vs TNA Glory by Honor will take place on the Saturday, followed 24 hours later by Bound for Glory 2011, and we begin with a match that has huge implications for the second of the two events, as Sara Del Rey defeats Madison Rayne in 12 minutes and 28 by submission with a cross armbreaker. Madison Rayne looks to take every shortcut available to win this match, but Del Rey just has too much for her. And I should note that the implication for this match is that the winner will be on the Bound for Glory card, and they will issue an open challenge to any former, current or future knockout that may want to face them, and it's a really good way to open the show at 67. Very happy with that, and Del Rey with a good performance. I think that with the opponent that we've got signed up for that match, it's going to be an excellent pay-per-view match. And afterwards, as Del Rey's arm is raised in victory and she is confirmed to compete at Bound for Glory, Paul Heyman comes to the top of the ramp. Heyman says that from the moment the open challenge was issued, there was plenty of interest from women all over the world. They all wanted to face the Queen of Wrestling, Sara Del Rey. He says that is a testament to how highly she is regarded by her peers. One name stood out above all others from those who made that call, however, and he has personally invited this former knockout to Bound for Glory. This woman has a lot of history in TNA and at Bound for Glory itself, but he doesn't want to give away anything more than that. Sara Del Rey looks forward to it. She is ready for whoever accepts her open challenge at Bound for Glory. There's not too many options, I suppose, so I'd love to hear some predictions. Not going to be too long to wait until we find out that person. A 74 is a really good segment, gaining heat to the storyline, which means that it's going to be a hot storyline going into that pay-per-view. Can't complain about that at all. We go into another great segment, and this is what we need on tonight's show. I've hit that target with every impact that we wanted them all to be over 80, and I've got a good feeling that tonight will not be letting us down. Jeff Hardy, Kurt Angle and Sting all come down to the ring after the break, with the intent of promoting Sunday's 4-on-4 ROH vs TNA Anything Goes match. The 3 men in the ring are ready for war, but Kurt reveals that they have yet to confirm their 4th man. It's just 72 hours until the pay-per-view. That's not the best of signs, really. Sting turns to him and asks if he's thought about the guy who approached them last week, but Angle doesn't even want to consider it. Coming out from the back, it appears that Desmond Wolfe was that man, and as Angle and Wolfe go face to face, it's clear that Angle simply can't bring himself to team with a man who he has such a hostile history with. Sting comes between them, pointing out that if this was about personal history, there's no way that he and Kurt would be standing shoulder to shoulder. This isn't about any of them. This is about TNA, and Wolfe has proved himself, at least in Sting's mind. Jeff Hardy also vouches for Wolfe as a competitor. They too have had their issues, but Jeff Hardy knows how good he is in the ring, and he is sure that he is ready to fight for TNA. Wolfe makes it clear that he also wants to join this team by offering a hand, but Angle leaves the ring. He is clearly conflicted. So many green notes with that segment, gaining heat to our storyline. It couldn't have gone better, but in terms of Team TNA, still very much in the air. Whether Desmond Wolfe will be that 4th man or whether it'll be somebody else, we'll of course follow that throughout the rest of the night. We then see Tara, who is walking around aimlessly in the back, taking in her surroundings as she does. She's running her hand across different surfaces. She just seems to be in a world of her own. Jeremy Borash asks her, she's been doing this all night, and why is this the case? Tara says that tonight could be her last ever night on Impact, and with how focused she has to be for Bound for Glory, she wants to make sure that she takes all of this in tonight. She knows that nothing is guaranteed, and that's why her match tonight is also so important to her. She wants to enjoy this match against Taylor Wilde, because this time next week, her career could be over. She will challenge for the Knockouts Championship at Bound for Glory, but the caveat of that 6 sides of steel match is that if she loses, she will retire. We then get the second match of the night, and it's a follow-up from something that happened on Evolve a few weeks ago, and it's just about putting over El Generico before his match at ROH vs TNA Glory by Honor. He will be challenging for the X Division Championship. Tonight, he defeats Kenny King in 7 minutes and 50 with a haluva kick, not the brainbuster as it said there, because that is the move the haluva kick that we're trying to get over as his finisher. Aries does the brainbuster, so while Generico will pull it out on occasion, his main finisher is the haluva kick. I should probably change that in his moveset, to be fair. During the match, we had Rhett Titus come in and attempt to attack El Generico, but he just got took down with a Blue Thunder bomb, and then El Generico clean victory over Kenny King. Colt Cabana joins El Generico in the ring following the victory as Tyler Black appears on screen with Jimmy Jacobs by his side. The X Division champion gets straight to the point as he vows to stomp El Generico's skull into the canvas at Glory by Honor. Jimmy Jacobs says that he can't wait to be there as Tyler Black sets the tone for the entire weekend against El Generico. By Sunday night, all the gold will be leaving with the New Age of Honor, and CM Punk will be the dual world champion of both companies. Tyler then turns as Jacobs is saying this, telling him that he doesn't want him at ringside this Saturday. It's nothing personal, but after hearing the ridiculous claims that he's afraid of that idiot in the ring, El Generico, he's got a point to prove. No Jacobs, no Cabana, just Black and Generico one-on-one, and there could be no questions and no doubts then. He is the better man, and he is not afraid of anybody. Jimmy Jacobs says that that is absolutely fine, because whether he's there or not, the result will be exactly the same. The X Division title match set for Glory by Honor, and I think it's going to be a really, really good one. In the back, Jeff Hardy and Sting approach Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle's obviously been off for a walk on his own to run things through his head, but Sting begins to get heated at him. He's asking what that was about in the ring. He says that Desmond Wolfe has as much grievance as anybody with the New Age of Honor. He'd be perfect to team with them at Bound for Glory. In this past year, he has stepped up to another level. Kurt says that this is Team Aries versus Team Angle, and it's his name that will be associated with any failure. Desmond Wolfe made it his mission to end Kurt's career from day one in TNA, and put simply, he can't trust him. Sting asked Kurt to look him in the eyes and tell him truthfully, when they shared a ring together, did he never want to end Sting? Sting and Kurt have a violent and personal history. Angle looks away, he won't answer that question. Jeff adds that whatever Kurt's decision is, they have to back him. However, they are running out of time to find a fourth man, so Kurt needs to pick someone and pick someone soon. So it's a short segment that does lose heat to the storyline, but we've got another segment coming later tonight that hopefully should bring it back. 72 is what you expect from these 2-minute promos. We then get a bit of a feature on D'Angelo Dinero. Mike Tenay has travelled to the childhood home of the Pope, and he speaks with him about his return to the ring on Sunday. It's been 15 long months, and during the promo we see the friends and family of D'Angelo Dinero, who all speak glowingly about him. Everybody in his community will be watching and is behind him for this Sunday's pay-per-view, and this is put over further as locals speak to the TNA camera about what Dinero has given back to the area that raised him. He is a man of his people, and they're all behind him this Sunday. They say that Dinero hasn't changed one bit despite all of his success. He's as great of a person as he ever was, really laying it on thick with the praise of D'Angelo Dinero. When Mike speaks with Dinero one-to-one, he puts over how much representing his people means to him. He says that it takes a village to raise a child, and he is fighting for everybody who has ever had his back this Sunday at Bound for Glory. So less about Abyss and what he did. We've done that in the build-up in previous weeks. Now it is just about D'Angelo Dinero and the person that he is, because we really want to give him a big push and put a lot behind him after he returns at Bound for Glory. We then get the final match of the hour, and it is Tara defeating Taylor Wilde in 9 minutes and 19 seconds with a Widow's Peak. Mickie James joins commentary for the match, and it says the colour commentary gave the match a boost. I don't know if that is as a result of Mickie being there, not buying any of this emotion from Tara. She knows what she's really like, and on Sunday she's not going to be lulled into any false sense of security. Taylor Wilde and Hamada a good pairing. That's good to see, as Hamada was at ringside. As her arm is raised in the ring, Tara once again appears to be taking in her surroundings. We're doing everything to play up the significance of Sunday's match. I'll say now, actually, Tara came to me a few months ago and said that she was retiring. I tried to make her reconsider, and I guess this Sunday is when we find out whether she said that she would continue and maybe she'll win the championship, or if that was set in stone that she's leaving, she will be ending her career at the pay-per-view. She is cutting an emotional figure. We want to get over this possibility as realistically as we possibly can. Mickie gets up from the announcer's desk, stands at the top of the stage, raising her title and telling Tara to keep her eye on what matters this Sunday, their match inside the 6 sides of steel. And it has been a bit of a thing in the build-up that Mickie was the reason that Tara didn't step down and retire a few months ago. Actually, it was, I guess, the user character Paul Heyman who tried to convince her, but I'm not going to say either way what the result of that was. The second hour begins with the entrance of Team Aries, the guys who will represent Ring of Honor this Sunday, Austin Aries, Samoa Joe and the Kings of Wrestling, and they're reveling in the disarray that is Team TNA, or Team Angle I should say. Austin Aries saying that if one thing sums up the differences between these two sides, it's tonight. He stands side by side with men that he's battled before. He's had Ring of Honor World Championship matches against Samoa Joe this year, but tonight and on Sunday, they are ready to go to war together. Meanwhile, TNA's team are bickering about the past. When making this challenge for Bound for Glory, the least Angle could have done was made sure he had 3 people in the back that he could actually trust. Coming out, Desmond Wolfe, he may not have a team, but he is still going to confront these men, and he says that he is going to kick Samoa Joe's ass at Glory by Honor. Whether he's on the Bound for Glory card or not, it'll be Desmond Wolfe and Roderick Strong versus Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal as one of the matches on Glory by Honor. Whether he's part of the team, he will be part of bringing down the New Age of Honor. There is no question about that. He is then asked by Aries why he's doing this. He's supposed to be a Ring of Honor guy. He was offered the chance to join this group and he is nothing but a turncoat. But Desmond Wolfe says that these men don't represent Ring of Honor and they never will. Joe warns Wolfe to leave the ring after he makes that statement, but instead he pushes Joe. He doesn't care. There's 4 of them, there's 1 of him. He doesn't have any backup, but he is still willing to fight. He valiantly tries to fight the 4 men, but of course, numbers like that, you're never going to succeed. Jeff Hardy and Sting do come out to make the save, followed a few paces behind by Kurt Angle. The 3 men in support, Desmond Wolfe and co, fight off the 4 men. Jeff Hardy and Sting both look at Kurt Angle. The look on their face says, you know what you have to do, and that is what Kurt does. He offers the hand to the 4th man. Desmond Wolfe will join Team TNA, and you can see all 8 competitors in that match. It's going to be a huge one. I think this gives Wolfe a bit of a rub as well, because Angle, Sting, Jeff Hardy, 3, I was going to say 3 of, but I'd say arguably the 3 most recognisable people that we have in the company. You could say CM Punk as well, but these 3 are top faces in the company, and Wolfe is going to be rubbing shoulders with them. And of course, what a team that Ring of Honor team is. 4 absolutely incredible competitors. Really looking forward to that match. We then see the Forefathers, Frankie Kazarian, James Storm and Robert Roode, defeat the New Age of Honors, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly and Rhett Titus. It's only 5 minutes and 43, and it's a straightforward match, all about showcasing the Forefathers. Kazarian pins Rhett Titus following a fade to black. Frankie Kazarian and Beer Money then stand tall before reiterating their challenge to the New Age of Honor for Glory by Honor. Steve Corino appears on screen to respond, and he says that the men in the ring call themselves the Forefathers of TNA, but the foundations that they built aren't something to be proud of. Corino is proud of what he helped build with Ring of Honor, and he's just as proud of the man who started the New Age movement all that time ago. This man is a visionary, and walking into the shot, Jimmy Jacobs says that at Glory by Honor, he doesn't have to be at ringside with Tyler Black, so he will show the TNA Originals what a true pioneer is capable of. People have underestimated him since he came to TNA, but when he's back in a Ring of Honor ring on Saturday, they will see truly what he can do. As the man who ushered in the new age of professional wrestling, he's always looking forward, or in this case, looking up. Walking in from the side, a huge man joins Steve Corino and Jimmy Jacobs. He will make his debut this Saturday. The newest member of the New Age of Honor, Brody Lee. He's introduced as Big Rig Brody Lee by Jimmy Jacobs. Gimmick does get an initial rating of awful, and he's not very over. I just think the idea of having this imposing figure join the group at the last minute. Frankie Kazarian, Storm and Roode may have had some people in mind of who might be on this team, but it is Corino, Jacobs, and their big insurance policy, Brody Lee. Obviously, he has a lot of history with Jimmy Jacobs. I think that's going to be a good undercard match for the ROH versus TNA Glory by Honor show. We then get the Beautiful People show, which doesn't do too well, and we do again lose heat to a storyline, and we see that the set has shoddily been put back together since No Surrender. No time, of course, to get them a new set before the big pay-per-view, so they're going to have to make do. Love and Sky clearly aren't happy, as Brooke has to physically hold up the main sign of the Beautiful People show. Love points out that with Awesome Kong and her partner appearing tonight, they've drafted in security, who come out and stand across the bottom of the ramp. Love says that if there is one thing they can be happy about, it's knowing that Kong's partner can't possibly be as grotesque as her. Awesome Kong comes out from the back, but is stopped in her tracks by the security team, asking who her partner is. Sky mocks Kong, saying that she'll take her silence as proof that nobody wanted to come within a mile of her. They can't blame anybody for that, but in response, the silent Kong doesn't have to say anything. She just looks over her shoulder, appearing on the screen and making her way out from the back. We see that Aja Kong is Awesome Kong's partner. The two women easily take out the security team, but Love and Sky manage to escape. Brooke, being completely absent-minded, is still in the ring and gets caught between the two, but she is spared as Kong and Kong instead decide to once and for all destroy this Beautiful People set. They take the sign from Brooke, she escapes, and they just cause complete carnage and destruction. The security coming in to try and calm them down, they get taken down again, and what we're really putting over is, with Double Kong in the ring, you'd have to say smart money is on them leaving as the Knockouts Tag Team Champions this Sunday. They of course have some history in Japan, and they've been Tag Team Champions elsewhere, so I thought that with Kong needing a partner, Aja Kong was the perfect person to bring in. While she doesn't do well in this segment, largely because she's not very over, I'm confident that she will be a good addition to this roster. After that, we get Mauro and Taz running through the full cards for this weekend's ROH vs TNA Glory by Honor and TNA Bound for Glory. We then send to Paul Heyman's office. The man in charge continues to promote the weekend, putting over this is the biggest in the history of TNA, and I think it's hard to argue with that. We've had other shows that you could say are the biggest shows, but actually having two back-to-back nights of action I think does set this on its own level. The stakes have never been higher across the board, and for him that is what Bound for Glory should be all about. That's why he made that controversial main event. Every single person in the locker room, whichever side they fall on, they are ready to compete at the highest level imaginable, and that is what makes these shows unmissable. Of course, we want Paul Heyman to do his level best to put these shows over. He normally does a good job. He says that TNA is the home to the greatest wrestlers on the planet, and just like on Sunday, Alex Shelley and Davey Richards are ready to prove that in tonight's main event. As Heyman looks to send back to the ring, AJ Styles storms into the office. He's heard that Paul apparently wants to mediate between the three Bound for Glory main eventers at the end of the show. He wants to make sure that things don't spill over into violence. Styles tells him to take his advice from last week and keep his nose out of his business, because if he sees Paul Heyman in the ring, then there is going to be violence, and it's going to be towards him. So a threat from AJ Styles for Paul Heyman to stay the hell away as we go into this main event, which delivers. Alex Shelley off his game and still an 82. Absolutely fantastic, and this is going to be another really great episode of TNA Impact. And the story of the match is that Alex Shelley injures his knee during the match, and this ultimately allows Richards to take control. It says by submission with a Kimura. I'm thinking some kind of leg hold, of course, because that's kind of what we're selling. And Alex Shelley taps out with the logic that he is able to fight another day. If he would have tried to hold out, he could have hurt himself even more, and that would have backfired. So for the greater good, for the more important match this Sunday, he decides to take this loss. It's a superb match described by the game, 13 minutes and 39, and I'm really happy with that. And when I said that I had something a few weeks ago that would get the heat for this storyline up, I just knew by putting Alex Shelley and Davey Richards in the ring, that was the best way to preview this Sunday's match. Eddie Edwards comes out to join Davey Richards in standing tall with the TNA World Tag Team Championships. Another thing I didn't know, both guys agreed to stay in the back, as they will when Eddie Edwards and Chris Sabin face on Evolve. While this is a huge win for momentum, it may be even bigger in terms of the condition of their opponents. Alex Shelley, as we say, say, selling that injury after the match, and Chris Sabin comes down to the ring, checking on his injured partner. He helps him back to his feet. Shelley has to be carried to the back essentially. His knee is severely damaged. The commentators showing concern about his ability to compete on Sunday. They put this over as an example of the risk of agreeing to compete this close to such a huge match, but that is what the schedule is like in TNA. There is no off season. They promise to bring an update on Shelley's condition on Evolve before Bound for Glory, so we'll know one way or another the severity of this injury. But we then go to the final break and return for the go home segment, a 93 rating, gaining heat to the storyline, so partly relieved but also very, very happy that this is going to be another incredible show. The Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion is out first, and he wants to address what CM Punk's been saying in recent weeks, that this is about his ego, that he cares more about himself than he does TNA. He finds that ironic because if this is about anyone's ego, it's CM Punk's. After all, he isn't the one going around calling himself the saviour, the voice of the voiceless. He's not the one with the Messiah complex. CM Punk comes out after AJ Styles says this. AJ can't help but tell him how much he hates him. The vitriol, we want this to be a raw emotion from AJ Styles just getting in the face and telling Punk how he truly feels about him. But Punk is smirking and he says that's exactly what will cost AJ Styles. The people here may love him because, like them, he's small-minded and he's overly emotional. For AJ Styles, this is only about beating CM Punk, but for Punk, this is about Ring of Honor. This is about the future of professional wrestling. He just hopes that AJ is ready for the reception he'll get at Glory by Honor, because that isn't a TNA show, that is a Ring of Honor show, and he knows that the Ring of Honor fans want the ROH World Championship to come home with him. Bryan Danielson has now heard enough of their bickering over Saturday's match and says that he's the only one willing to be honest and admit that he's fighting for himself. His extra motivation comes from the fact that he is pissed off that these two other guys have the chance to leave as double champion when he has proved himself worthy of that for the last 12 months. AJ Styles and Punk still seem focused on one another. They're listening to Bryan, but also there's still that eye contact. They don't trust each other. They're both in such close proximity that they're just aware of each other, and this pisses Bryan off as well. He decides that to get their attention, he's going to slap AJ Styles. He then slaps CM Punk. Neither of them can react before he leaves the ring. AJ goes to follow. Again, he's highly emotional at the moment, whereas Punk's kind of playing it cool. But at this point, Punk grabs AJ Styles as he goes to leave. The smug look on his face results in AJ Styles snapping, and the two begin brawling to end the show. Bryan Danielson heads up the ramp, and we're kind of showing that Bryan's, I don't want to say overshadowed in this, but there is so much personal animosity between the other two guys that Bryan's almost in a different realm. He's about competing. He wants to just wrestle these guys, but Saturday night and Sunday night is going to be about so much more for AJ Styles and CM Punk, and I think that is a really good dynamic going into the match. The fact that you've got the emotional AJ Styles, CM Punk with his grand vision and plan, and you never know what he's going to pull out of the bag, and then Bryan Danielson, the focused competitor, and maybe that will give him the edge as these two guys are so personally invested in one another. Bryan doing well improvising, AJ doing well improvising. No comment on Punk, who you'd normally think would be the strongest of the three in this segment, and we see an 85. What a run, what a 2-month stretch this has been, from No Surrender, from Hard Justice I should say, straight through to the go home shows. It's been absolutely incredible, and that means that not only do I have a lot of hope for how this weekend's going to go, there is also huge pressure and expectations for us to deliver, but that's what this is all about. Growing a company is all about maintaining these new standards that you're setting. Before then, we have Evolve, of course, the final show before this weekend. And Evolve begins with a recap of the end of Impact, followed by Alex Shelley being checked on by Chris Sabin. There's a little bit of a conversation between them. The idea is that it is footage from directly after Impact ended. That's something that I'm going to go for more after Bound for Glory, but again, I'll go into that at the time. He's hurt, but he insists that he will be fighting at Bound for Glory, and he wishes Chris Sabin luck in his match against Eddie Edwards. They want to get that win back before the pay-per-view, but of course, the World Tag Team Championships is the main focus. Both men doing well in a good segment. We then get ODB defeating Maria Kanellis by countout. ODB basically has the match won until Jay Lethal comes out and makes sure that basically, it's essentially throwing the towel in. He pulls Maria out of the ring and they head up to the back. Lethal takes her out of harm's way. ODB wants to fight. She wants to fight Maria. She wants to fight Lethal, and she can't wait to see him get his ass beaten on Sunday when he and Samoa Joe face Desmond Wolfe and Roderick Strong. We then get an in-ring segment, and it's WGTT responding to the Briscoes. They had to work for everything. They resent this idea from the Briscoes that they've had it so tough while Haas and Benjamin were handed everything. They talk about what they had to do, how they reached this point, and the fact that they will prove it this Saturday. When things get tough, when things get gritty, they will be able to hang with the Briscoes. The Briscoes come out. They don't doubt that they had it hard, but they had it nowhere near as hard as they did when it comes to professional wrestling. They haven't had to live like they have. Haas and Benjamin have had the best facilities. They've had the best pay. They've had everything that the Briscoes haven't had. That is not an opinion. That is a fact. But that is what the Briscoes feels gives them the edge going into this pay-per-view. We then get the history of Christopher Daniels and Low-Ki in Ring of Honor via a video package, and we're saying that those two men will be in the ring this Saturday against each other. The first match, the only non-ROH versus TNA match on the card, Bryan Danielson versus Christopher Daniels versus Low-Ki in a rematch of the first ever main event match in Ring of Honor history. We then get a 6-woman tag team match, Alyssa Flash teaming with DNR against April Hunter and Jazz, who have drafted in a third Brittany Savage. It doesn't go well. Savage pinned by Alyssa Flash in 6 minutes and 47 with a Flash driver. The face team stand tall, delighted to have picked up a win. We then get another segment from After Impact. It doesn't gain anything to the storyline, but it's still a really good segment. AJ Styles and CM Punk continued to fight. They were pulled apart by security, but we see now footage of what happened once they got to the back. They managed to evade the security and got back to brawling. They had to be pulled apart. Paul Heyman got involved. This just made AJ Styles and CM Punk madder, and we're just seeing how heated this is. We want to go into this pay-per-view with everybody knowing that it is pure hatred between these two men, and they go off script so they can say whatever they want to each other to put over this. Of course, we can bleep any expletives, so we want them to go as hard as they can at one another. Not that good of a match, to be fair, for the main event. Did hope for better from these two, but not too worried. Chris Sabin defeats Eddie Edwards in 15 minutes and 45 by pinfall with a fast roll-up. Catches him off guard, basically. We've had that little underlying storyline that Chris Sabin is kind of carrying the team. He may have to physically do that this Sunday because whatever condition he's in, Alex Shelley has vowed to be there. He stands tall alone, and it is just feeding in again to the idea that Alex Shelley is the weak link, and now with his busted leg, he could really be in trouble. It's a decent show, a good episode of Evolve, to be fair. These are the types of levels that we should have been getting back when it was on MTV. Then we wouldn't have been kicked off, but this is Bound for Glory weekend now, so I can't be bitter about that still. Still something that I'm not happy about, but like I say, the focus now is on this upcoming weekend. Impact getting excellent feedback, great feedback for Evolve. So happy with all of this, and I really can't wait for this upcoming pay-per-view. Bound for Glory 2011 coming. We'll put the card up for that on screen, of course, but before then we have the Ring of Honor versus TNA Glory by Honor. The card for that also shown, of course. That's our next show, and I hope that everybody is looking forward to this as much as I am. I think it's going to be a huge weekend, 2 incredible shows. I'm already thinking about what comes after Bound for Glory, but we have to focus on the here and now. Ring of Honor versus TNA Glory by Honor 2011, Bound for Glory 2011. This is what we've been building to. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you will join me again for those shows. Cheers.